Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Let me introduce myself. My name is Adelia Afriliani with Coda Assistant, aka. And in this video, I will share you about data type in Model 2. The C language programming structure consists of hashtag include and function. Hashtag include. In the C programming language, there is a special command called hashtag include. This command tells the computer to read the contents of another file called header and add it to our program. For example, the header file stdao.h, when we write hashtag include at the beginning of our program, we tell the computer to use the basic function in stdao.h such as printf and scanf. The C language consists of one or more functions. This programming language has a main function called main. This function is where the C program starts its execution. The image side is a simple example for the programming structure of the C language. In the code side, there is a printf function. This function is used to print text to the screen so that if we run it, the phrase hello world will appear. In addition, the slash n sign will cause the cursor to move to the next line after hello world is output. Return 0 states the return value of the program is 0. A 0 value is commonly used to indicate that the program has successfully performed its task. Keep in mind, everyone, that every statement in the C language must end with a semicolon.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about variables and constants, which will be explained by me, Tadeke Mazurumuki, with assistant code Uki. Okay, so what is variables and constants? Variables and constants are names that express a place in memory computer and contains a value. So what is the difference between that two? Okay, so the contents of the variable can be changed at any time when the program is executed, whereas the constant cannot be changed when the program is executed. So that is the difference between variables and constants. And then there is important things that must be considered if you guys want to naming some variables or constants. That include, the first one is must begin with the letter of alphabet A to Z or underscore. You guys actually free want to use some capital letters or not, but what is certain is that in these first characters you must use alphabet letters or underscores. Okay, so that the important things. And then the second one is subsequent characters can be letters, digits, or underscores. So for the next characters, you are free to use letters or underscores. But for the second characters, you can use some numbers. And then for the third one, the maximum length of the identifier is 32 characters, if more than the initial 32 characters are considered. What does it mean? So I will give you some example. If I want to naming some variables book, it consists 4 characters. Well, those 4 characters are still in the range 32. So everything will be considered. Meanwhile, if you guys want to naming some variables with 35 characters, what will happen is that the last 3 characters will not be considered as a variable name because they have exceeded the maximum limit of 32 characters. Okay, and the next one is no space are allowed. So if you want to put some space between words, you can use underscores instead. Okay, and then the next one is no arithmetic operators like plus, minus, div, percent, and others. And then the next one is must not use special characters such as semicolon, hashtag, at, and others because that's not allowed. Okay, and then the last one is the C language is case sensitive, so capital and non-capital letters are distinguished.
Alright, let me introduce myself. My name is Zaitan Abdurrahman Hakim with the assistant code DUN. I'll be explaining about data type. Data type is the type of variable used in the algorithm. Here is some of the data types that is defined by the C standard and used in the C language, but I'm only going to be explaining 4 of them that is commonly used. So the first one is int. It is used to express integers between minus 32,798 to plus 32,797. For example, 1, 0, 3, minus 5, etc. And the second one is float. It is used to express real numbers. For example, 1.1, 1.3, minus 9.2, etc. So float is used to express decimal numbers or numbers that has floating points there. And the third one is char. It is used to express character. For example, A, F, 9, ampersand, or asterisk. And the fourth one is bool. It's used to express logical value, whether it's true or false. Here, I'm gonna be showing you a little coding here for integer. If we input 5 here, it will output 5 as well as integers. The difference between int and float is that if we input 5 in floating points, it will show us 5.10000. It has six floating points here. Why 6 point here? Because by default, in C language, if we use the floating points here, it will show us 6 numbers behind the points. So we can modify the format specifier here. If we only want 2 floating points here, we can add 0.2 here as the format specifier. So it will show us only 2 floating points here. And the third example for char, if we input an ampersand here, it will also output an ampersand. And if we input some variables here, it will also input an alphabet here. For more format specifier, you can see it all in the module.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Fafian Rafaldi with the assistant code of FAV. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you all about arithmetic operations, which is part of module 2 data type. So as you all know, or you should know, that arithmetic operations include multiplication, subtraction, addition, and division. But there is one that you might not know because it is not really commonly used, which is modulo. Now, what is modulo? Modulo is an operation where you find or you can find the remainder of a division process. I think it's better if I demonstrate it. Let's say I have two numbers, 13 and 5, and I were to do the modulo operation between 13 and 5, and it would give me 3. Why 3? Because if you divide 13 with 5, the result would be 2 with 3 remainder, and the 3 will be the result of the modulo operation. And some of you might be wondering, hey, how do I use all of these arithmetic operations in my codes in the C language? And I'm glad you asked. So let's move on to the VS Code itself. Okay, I'm here with in my VS Code with 4 basic codes to show you how to use arithmetic processes or arithmetic operations. So this is a code to find the addition of two numbers, and this is how you use the arithmetic operations by putting the result on the left and then adding the two numbers, in this instance the variable of number 1 plus number 2. So I guess let's just run the code to see if this code actually works. Okay, let's say I want to add 5 with 3. Yep, it checks out. 5 plus 3 equals 8. So that means this code is running well. And to some of you that might be confused on modulo still, I have a code that runs that. So this is the code for modulo operation. As you can see, I just replaced the plus sign with the percentage sign as for the modulo operation. So let's just run the code. Let's enter the previous problem I stated, which is 13 divided by 5. As you can see, the answer is 3, which means, yeah, 13 modulo 5 is 3. And aside from the arithmetic operations itself, I feel like you guys should know a couple of things other than the operations themselves. So this is the first thing I want to tell you guys, which is the usage of constants. You might be wondering, why do I need to use constants when I can just use normal variables? You see, sometimes when you code, there are some variables where you don't want to change. And the best way of practice, you like state that this variable isn't changeable, or you don't want to change it, is to add this, the constant value, to just basically show that the variable value is not, or you don't want to change it or anything else. Even if you try to change it using the scanf, it won't change. And in this case, the float or phi variable will still be 3.14 no matter what. So this is the code for finding the area of a circle, and let's just run it, see if it works. Area of a circle with a radius of 7, 153.86, and you can try to do it in a calculator to see if it checks out, and I'm pretty sure it will check out. Oh yeah, I feel like I should tell you guys about this. This is, you might be wondering, why do I use %.2f instead of the regular %f? See, if you are using a float variable, you have like numbers behind the point, right? So in big numbers, or numbers where the numbers after the point are very long, you might want to limit it into, just a couple of numbers behind the point. And so with this .2f, I basically declare that the numbers after the point are only limited by 2 numbers, not 5, not 3, but 2. You can change this into 5 or maybe 6 to tell that the number behind the point is 6, but let's just keep it at 2 for now. Okay, other than using constants, there is also a way of using define. You might be asking, what's the difference between define and constants? Well, essentially, there are no differences. It's just where you place the code and what you write. For define, as you can see, I just have to write define phi, the name of the variable, and 3.14, the value of the variable. But for constants, I have to write constant, the type of the variable, the name of the variable, and then the value of the variable itself. And I put constant inside my main. Instead of define, I put it outside my main. So it's just a difference of placement and how you write it, essentially. There's not really much if any difference at all. So let's just run the code to prove that define and the constants doesn't have any difference. Let's use radius, and as you can see, it checks out. The result is still 153.86. And well, I guess that is all I can say or I can give in this video, and see you later.
Data type material, we are going to learn about type struct or defined types. Defined types are data types that are created by the user. This type is created because there is a relationship between variables that, when combined, have the same purpose. To create a struct data type, the struct keyword is used. One example of a struct data is a student, where a student has a name, a name, a major, and a grade. This is the example of the previous one that we said. The student, the bio data, has a name, a major, and a class. These data types are combined in one struct named bio data, and we're putting a B in it, so it's easier for us to call it rather than writing biodata. And in this particular place, in the main program, we are inputting the name variable in which we use gets. So how do we call the variable of the name? We use the b, the calling b, and we use a dot, and we select and we type in the data type, the variable in which we want to call. For example, in this place, we want to recall name, the variable name, in which we write b dot name. This is for putting the inside the name variable. At the next program, this is the output. When we want to recall it, we're going to put the percentage s because it is a string. And then we're going to put it in the b dot name. This is universal, to which when we want to call the variable itself, we need to use the b, the naming of the struct data, which is b dot name. This is the flowchart for easier explanation. So at the very start, this is a start program. And the next, we're going to declare a variable of data type car. This is what this flowchart means, this place, struct biodata, in which we declare name, major, name, and class. At the next one, we are to be enter name, department, name, and class. And this is placed in here in the output place, right? And the display or output is going to display the data that which we have input. Okay, in the previous examples, there are notable notes where we saw the gets function, which serves a similar purpose to scanf, though notable differences exist between them. When inputting a string using scanf, the function reads the input only until it encounters a space. For example, with the input Cristiano Ronaldo, scanf will only read Cristiano as it terminates the space, leaving Ronaldo unread. This is why we use getS. For we want to read the whole sentence, such as Cristiano Ronaldo. The gets reads the white space, right? So yeah, we're using the getS. And there's also a /t. Where is it? This part right here, we use /t because at the output of the program, we want the double dots to essentially. I think the easier explanation would be the /t is like the tab on your keyboard. When the output of the program displays a single tab input.
Hello everyone, my name is Naila Bening Nurani with the Assistant Code and AI. Next, I will explain about the 6th point is namely logic and relational. In this point, there is an operations called Boolean. Boolean operations are logical operations that will only produce true or false values. The header used for the Boolean data type is this stdbool.h. Next, I will explain the difference in writing Boolean operators in C language and algorithms. First, there is equal. In algorithm, is writing by one equal, and in C language, there is writing by two equal. For the example, the A equal B, and the description is true if A is equal to B, and soon as in this example of writing C language. Next we will discuss about the true and false. There are three examples of condition, namely AND, OR, and XOR. The first condition is A and B. In this condition, if we will produce the value true, the A and B should be true. Example, if A false and B false, and the result are false. And if A false and B true, the result is false. And A are true and B false, and the results are false. The value of A and B should be true. Next, in these conditions, the value of A and B are one of them or two of them should be true for produce the value of true. Example, if A false and B false, and the results are false. And if one of the A or B are true like this, or two of them are true, and the results will be true. Next, third conditions are A, X, or B. In these conditions, if you want to produce the value of true, the value of A or B should difference. If they are same, like this, A false and B false, then the results are false. And the A or B are different, false true or true false, and the results are true. And next, the A are true and B true, and the result will be false. Next, there is an example of writing operators in the C language. First, the operator of N on C language are writing by double N like this. Second, operator not on C language is writing by the exclamation mark like this. Next, operator OR on C language is write by two lines. Next, operator XOR on C language is write by the circumflex like this. Next, there is an explanation about the node. If we have variable A and the A are false, then the node A are true. The node is the opposite of A, and if the A are true, then the node A are false. That's all about the explanation of material 6. Further explanation will be explained in the next model. Thank you.